Hey y'all, and welcome back. Today we're making a very simple alkaline recipe. It's a sweet and spicy zucchini noodle bowl using fresh whole ingredients. And I'm going to walk you through this recipe step by step. It is a great recipe when you want to support your healthy eating lifestyle. If you just want to take a break from eating cooked foods and to support any cleanses that you may be on, this is a really good raw vegetable recipe that you can eat anytime. So I encourage you to incorporate it into your daily living lifestyle. So first, I'm going to show you this. It's a zucchini noodle spiraler. I found it on Amazon and it was about $19.95. Now this is only the second time that I've used it, so you can see how how uncoordinated I am using it. But those little cones at the end help keep it in place. There's a little suction cup on the bottom that you can attach it to your counter so that it doesn't move. It actually have blades that you can interchange for larger, wider zucchini noodles. And for this recipe, I'm going to use the thin one. And I'm also going to just use one zucchini for this recipe when typically you use two. So you see, it's pretty easy to use, but the suction cup doesn't really hold as well as I'd like to. It gets the job done and, it's useful. And for $19.99, you can't really beat that, because I do have a commercial one, but that sucker is just too hard to move around and to take out of my cabinets anytime I want to use it. So as you can see, here's the core of the zucchini, and I'm not going to waste it. I'm just going to put it in a soup or a salad for later use so that I'm not wasting anything. You can actually use your kitchen shears or a knife to cut the zucchini noodles in smaller bites if you want. Okay, so now we're going to make the sauce for this recipe, and I'm going to start with a little bit of the almond butter. Now, if you don't want to use almond butter, you can use a different type of nut butter. You can use cashew butter, or you can use walnut butter, Brazil nut butter, if you can find it. I recommend a tree nut butter. So here I'm adding apple cider vinegar. It's a Bragg's brand, which I like. And then you can use either tamari or liquid aminos. You can also use coconut aminos too. Now here I have some minced garlic. I almost forgot what it was. And a little bit of sriracha. I'm going to drop the recipe down below just so that you can refer to it later. And then I'm going to add a little bit of pure maple syrup to add some sweetness to this beautiful sauce. It is very good. It's really rich. And to round this recipe out, I'm going to add about a thumb of grated fresh ginger. So don't skip this part. Now, you may not be able to find a lot of the fresh organic ginger, but you can also use the ginger paste, which they have in a bottle, in a jar, and a lot of times I've seen it in a tube. But that's okay. We're going to use this entire piece. So we're going to just keep grating on the finest grate, and then you just want to make sure you get all of that from the inside and not including any of the skin that's on the outside of the grater. So we're going to give that a nice mix just to make sure it's well incorporated. And after that, I'm just going to add just a touch of sea salt, because the almond butter I used was unsalted. So I do want to add just a little bit of sea salt. You can use regular sea salt, Celtic salt, or Himalayan sea salt. Okay, and to that, I'm just going to add a little bit of water to thin it out. You may not need to add water, but if you want to thin it out just a little bit, you can. Now to add color, I'm going to add a half of a red bell pepper. You can mix it up and also include yellow or orange bell pepper, and those give it a really nice color. But for the sake of this recipe, I'm just going to use a half of a red bell pepper. Now I'm also going to use 2 spring onions, or you can use green onions, and just take off the ends and cut them up really finely, and you can include those in the recipe as well. Now I'm just going to take 2 spring onions, just taking off the ends, And I'm going to cut these up really nice and small, and I'm going to add these to the recipe as well. It just adds a nice bite of onion flavor without it being too strong. Sometimes when you use the red onions or the white onions, it's just a little too strong, especially for a raw recipe like this one. Okay, so if you like this recipe so far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button just for future recipes. And I appreciate it and thank you very much for doing so. Okay, so now we're going to put everything together. We're adding the onions and the red bell pepper along with this beautiful, sweet, nutty sauce that we're putting on top. Now, you might not think it's enough, but it is. Trust me, I've made this many times. It's actually enough for 2 spiralized zucchini. Don't worry about it. As the water is released from the vegetables, it's going to thin out the noodles and the sauce naturally. So just make sure you just incorporate it well. Just keep tossing it. It is going to cover all the noodles. Trust me. So now I'm going to transfer it into this beautiful little bowl, which I found. I don't think I found it at Dollar Tree. I found it at Goodwill. It's like an Asian inspired bowl. I absolutely love it. I use it for little photo shoots like this one when I want to do a food video that has Asian inspiration, and I have been using it probably for the last 4 or 5 years, and I love it. So this is the final ingredient. We're going to or the final recipe. So this is the final recipe. I'm going to just toss it with a few chopped walnuts. And if you want to add a little more spice, you can sprinkle a little chili flakes on top, and that is it. And just enjoy it as it is. It's a standalone meal. You can eat it as is for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and it's a solid recipe. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here. I hope you stay healthy and happy, and include some of these recipes and let me know if you tried it and what you would add differently to this recipe.